Good afternoon, everyone. We will go ahead and get started. It's noon now, Central Time, and we've had some folks online with us for quite a bit of time this afternoon, so I want to be respectful of that. Just some housekeeping issues before we get started. Please keep your phone muted while the presentation is in session. We will have quite a bit of time at the end for questions and answers if you have them. And if you have questions during the webinar that you want me to address, but know that you're going to have to bounce a little bit early, please feel free to place them here. Or if you have questions that you want me to get a hold of for certain at the end, just go ahead and put them in the chat as well. I am going to, as microphones become unmuted, we will have someone going through to mute those, but feel free to engage through the chat for certain. Again, I do want to welcome you. I'm Deborah Kohl. I am the Managing Director for the Master of Agribusiness program, and I've been serving with the MAB for the last 9 years. My background is in student services and education, and I earned my master's degree from Kansas State University in 2002. Our forward-facing team also includes Mary Bowen, who's been with the MAB program for 14.5 years. Mary earned her master's degree in 2013 from the University of Denver, and her job description was enhanced last spring to assume responsibility for our agricultural economics department communication, as well as our Master of Agribusiness marketing. Sarah Tortella joined our team this fall, and she serves as our admissions representative. She most recently served as a recruiter for Caterpillar after a successful career with the U.S. Army. Dr. Alan Featherstone is our program director. He launched and developed the Master of Agribusiness program and has served as director since its inception. So he is someone you will also work with quite frequently within the program itself. So here's where we're going today. We will be talking a little bit about the information regarding the MAB program, definitely talking through the courses you'll take, the skills you'll walk away with. Also, we'll discuss the prerequisites, transferring coursework into the program from another graduate program, and the application process. Finally, we'll definitely talk through paying for the program. And again, I encourage you at the end of the webinar to ask your questions, then hang around for a little bit, or also feel free to contact me about an advising conversation if we've not already had one, to provide some additional answers to questions that you may have, and I'll walk you through what next steps would be at that time. So a little bit of history of the MAB program. We were created in 1997 in a response to a Board of Regents challenge in the state of Kansas to help grow and develop talent in food, agriculture, and animal health across our state, particularly in our rural communities. Our first cohort, which is pictured here, launched in 1998, and they graduated in the year 2000. Over the last 20 years, more than 500 students have participated in our program, and the demand for our program quickly expanded because of the skills that our students gained. The MAB reach quickly expanded domestically and internationally. We were the first distance degree program in the country focused on the business and economics involved in managing production, agriculture, food, and animal health companies. We are not an MBA, and we're also not an MS in agricultural economics. What we are is a professional degree program that's aimed at training managers for peak performance in one of the most rapidly changing industries today. Our students come from a variety of different backgrounds. Some of them have a scientific background and are looking to learn management and business skills. Others come to us grounded in production agriculture, but need a business background to make a positive impact in their companies or their operations or their communities. Still others come to us with a DVM or other advanced degree, but realize they need to brush up on their business or computer skills to lead their companies well. Still others have solid business training, but are not familiar with the supply chain or networks involved in our sector and need to learn how to do business specifically within our target industries. Our students hail from more than 40 states. And as we've polled the more than 500 students who participated in the program, they indicated that one of the most important ingredients on the academic side of the equation is that the program and its students be vertically integrated and diverse. In any of our cohorts, you can find students who represent a variety of ages and relationships to their companies from all across the globe. We've had individuals from more than 35 different countries participate in the program. So how does it work? Just as an overview, we're a 2.5-year program, which consists of 42 graduate credit hours. We are a thesis-bearing program, which is something that makes us very unique in the space. And there are 2 on-campus sessions involved with the program, which also differentiates the experience you will receive. All of our students are working full-time in production or industry, and our program is delivered executive style. Our faculty have perfected the use of the internet delivery of classes over the last 20 years, but we also provide additional tools to help you be successful. All of your course material will be supplied through our learning management system, which is currently Canvas, and we will give you a USB drive with all of the pre-recorded lectures and material loaded onto it. We provide those lectures in podcasts, but also once a week, each of our courses has a live recitation session associated with it. The faculty in our program use this time to provide new material, answer questions, work through any difficulties with the homework or applications you're being asked to use. All of these recitation sessions are recorded, so if you're like the bulk of our students who travel for work in a normal year during the courses, the recitation sessions can be accessed at your convenience. This isn't going to be a program where you are constantly posting to a message board or a discussion board and being asked to respond to other people's pieces and then having that kind of not face-to-face interaction. Even when we're not in the campus sessions, we have found that that dialogue and that intuitive pieces that take place during those face-to-face recitation sessions each week are really, really valuable. So that's something we'll definitely continue in our program, and we encourage you to tune in for as you're able while you're in the program. Finally, as I mentioned, we do have 2 on-campus sessions, and those set us apart from most of the typical off-the-shelf MBAs that you could participate in right now. Our program does have 2 different cohorts, and I'm going to talk about the campus sessions in light of those cohorts. So the Heritage cohort meets in Manhattan, Kansas in January and March each year, and our Animal Health cohort meets in August and October at our beautiful K-State Olathe campus. During the on-campus sessions, we'll provide an orientation to the program and to graduate studies at K-State. You'll meet the cohort of students you'll be going through the program with, and you'll also be introduced to our learning management system. We want to make sure that you have a full grasp on how to actually do your courses before we turn you loose to do your courses. You'll kick off coursework with some of your faculty, and you'll meet other faculty you'll be working with throughout the program. You'll also have an opportunity during these campus sessions to hear from leaders in food and agriculture and animal health, including some alumni of our program. Most importantly, you'll meet and be able to break bread with the cohort of students with whom you'll journey through our program. Our students and alumni tell us that this network of professionals benefits their career long after they finish coursework. And this is one of the things that we know truly sets the MAB program head and shoulders above other programs. The schedule for our Heritage program looks a little bit like this. I'm gonna grab my highlighters so I can kind of show you a little bit. You would be on campus in January in Manhattan, Kansas for 1 week in January. Typically, that's the first full week of the calendar year. And that's when we do the kickoff sessions and you get started with your courses themselves. Then you'll go home or travel on the road for work, whichever it is that you do. And you'll continue to take courses throughout the rest of the semester until the 3rd week of March, roughly, when you'll be back on campus for another campus session. So in year 1 of the program, the courses that you'll take will include an applied logistics supply chain management class, a finance class specifically applied to agribusiness and agriculture, a computer decision tools class, an applied economics class, optimization, which is a course that definitely is not featured in every program, but one that our students have told us has been very valuable to them as they're working and leading teams from an analysis standpoint. And then a risk management class as well. We'll wrap up the year for your first year in the Heritage program. This is an outline of the same courses in the animal health cohort. You will see that the on-campus sessions are in August. and October. And roughly the courses run the same way over the course of the year. In year 2, your courses continue in person for a week in January or August, and you'll be covering team management, marketing, international trade and policy, take a deeper dive into some statistical tools that will help you forecast your business better, and also complete a strategy course. I want to talk a little bit about the thesis. As I mentioned earlier, we are a thesis-bearing program, which provides definitely a more comprehensive opportunity to apply the skills you've learned in the program to come up with some real-world solutions for an actual problem or issue that is in your firm or organization. Your thesis could be a business plan to set the launch of your own company. It could be a financial analysis of an acquisition that your company is looking at, or it could be just tweaking a supply chain or logistic model for your company or your operation. In fact, a thesis a few years ago saved that student's company about $100,000 a month. And what he did was just simply tweak a supply chain. It worked so well that we had another student from the same company do a reevaluation of that supply chain tweak just to determine, did it truly save money over time, and what could additionally be done to capture some of that. And companies very pleased with the result of both of those thesis documents. We have a track record of working really well with companies to maintain confidentiality of data. Our faculty all operate well within NDAs, as do myself and the rest of our staff, which means that the research that you get to do through the MAB program can make an actual and immediate impact on the company you serve in. This isn't a case study driven program. I want to be really clear about that. We really want our students to be able to make themselves more valuable to the companies in which they sit or the companies that they want to go to. So definitely finding ways to apply the learning to the business that you're currently in is critical for our success and for yours. Let's talk just a little bit about the admission requirements. So you do need a bachelor's degree, a 4-year degree from an accredited program. You also need 2 years of professional work experience. And depending on what your academic journey has looked like, it doesn't have to be 2 years post-graduation. I'll be happy to visit with you about what your progression has looked like and figure out where that fits for you. Also, some computer literacy. Clearly, we're an online program and there's analysis that takes place using a number of different computer tools. So that's an important piece. And then you do need undergraduate coursework in accounting, statistics, and macro or micro or ag econ. So 1 class in accounting, 1 class in statistics, and 1 micro, macro, or ag econ class. If you have questions about what might work for those different prerequisite courses, please feel free to schedule a time to visit with me about picking up some coursework or evaluating your current transcript. One thing I will point out, and after decades of serving in this area, we have quite a few students who come to us from an animal science background in which you probably were not required to take a statistics course. Our students from animal science in particular, but really from any background who've taken a genetics course, have the same statistical skill set that you'll need to build on to do our program well. So we will substitute a genetics course for statistics. You may have noticed that there's no GRE or GMAT requirement for our program. We have never required a GRE or a GMAT because the truth of these standardized tests is that they've never been a good indicator of how you will do in a graduate program once you've been out of the classroom for 2 or more years. We have always worked really hard to minimize the hoops that you have to jump through to participate in our program as a student at every stage, and this would be the first one. So yeah, there's no requirement. If you've already taken it and you want to submit a score, absolutely fine. There is a space for it on the application, but not having a score is not going to bar your entry. One of my favorite tools applicants to the program use is our program booklet. And if you haven't requested a paper copy, you can do that through our website. I'll show you where to go here in just a few minutes. At the very back of that booklet is a checklist of material you need for your application. I am a checkbox girl, so these kinds of things really help me as I'm making my way through, and we would encourage you to utilize that as well. Some of the things that you'll notice you will need for application would be 3 letters of reference and a letter of support from your supervisor. This letter of support does not mean that they have to detail out for our program exactly how much tuition reimbursement you're using or being given if you are being supported in that way. Basically, the crux of this letter needs to be that your company understands that you will need to be away from work for the 2 weeks out of the year that you do the on-campus session and that they are supportive of that. And here's a life hack. If you have your supervisor write this letter of support in such a way that they tell what a great candidate you'd be for the program, that letter of support can also stand in for one of your 3 letters of reference. So you can kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone there. You'll also need to come up with a statement of objectives. Just kind of tell us, why you want to do the program, what the benefit you see as being for yourself might be out there, and submit that. We have seen statements of objectives ranging from 3 bullet pointed paragraphs or sentences to 6 pages long. I'm going to tell you, if it were me, I'd err on the side of the bullet points and small paragraphs. If you need a sample copy of someone's statement to take a look at, just kind of see what the gamut of different options would be there, let me know. I have some redacted copies I can send you that you can kind of take a look at. And then finally, we'll need to see a copy of your current resume. So there's a space to upload that in the application itself. Hot button issue, paying for the program. We keep records and have done since the very beginning. On average, about 62% of our students have some kind of tuition reimbursement or assistance from their employers. 20 years ago, many companies were fully funding students to do programs like ours. Usually an executive type MBA program. That, I'm going to just tell you, has shifted dramatically, especially over the last 10 years that I've been with the program. Most companies have a tuition cap on the amount that they're able to give to their students and their employees, although it will be interesting to see if that shifts over the next couple of years as we figure out what we're looking at from a labor perspective. But please know that about 62% of our students do have some kind of tuition reimbursement or assistance upfront from their employers. Since, as I mentioned, it's largely not 100%, some of our students choose to leverage financial aid, state and federal financial assistance, to go ahead and cash flow that out. You would be billed on the semester if you're using federal financial aid, and many of our students just choose to go ahead and start paying on that immediately as soon as they get the tuition reimbursement from their employers, and that's how they've managed the program. We do also have a few scholarships that are available, and you can find those at the website linked here. And it's also, I'll show you on our MAB website as well here in just a few moments. But this, I think we have 3 scholarships that are listed out there right now. Those are funded by our alumni, and they're small scholarships. None of them cover the full bulk of the tuition, but every little bit helps, as I have found when figuring out a way to pay for the program. So total, the cost of the full program is $32,175. And I can tell you that will be the cost for entry in January and likely August of next year. This includes 12 courses, so 39 credit hours. The distance education software, you will never purchase any software outside of what we provide for the program. Time to work with your thesis, on your thesis with a faculty member and a set of faculty members who are essentially consulting for you and your company as you work through your thesis. And then textbooks and course notes. You will never have to track down a book for a course within the MAB program. We will ship all material to you for the distance only courses, and we will have them all ready to go for you when you arrive on campus for the face-to-face sessions. This fee is also not going to change. It is locked in. So once you start the program, that is what your cost will be until you complete. What's not included in that tuition, you noticed that it was 39 and 39 credit hours. The course, the whole program of study is 42 credit hours. So one thing that we don't include in that quoted tuition rate is your elective course. We do have some electives that you're able to take through our program and offered here at K-State at the MAB tuition rate. However, if you've chosen a thesis maybe on a topic that isn't real central to some of our faculty, or you're going into a unique area and would like to take a different course, that will help you focus a little bit differently on your thesis. We're absolutely in support of that, and we want to be able to help you complete that. So if you happen to take a course, let's say at Harvard, it's probably going to be more expensive than our quoted rate. If you take one at maybe a directional state institution, that might be a little bit less than our tuition rate. So we just don't even include the elective in. I would rather give you a budget number that you can work with and work with your employers with, than give you the range, so that you kind of know where you're going to need to drill down. So that's why we don't include that in that price quote. The other thing is your housing while you're on campus and your travel to our campus sessions are also not included in that tuition rate. Again, because if you choose to drive, it may be more than flying, and depending on how far you're coming to participate, that cost is going to vary. So keep those things in mind. You have the option of paying in annual installments for the program. I mentioned if you're using federal financial aid or GI Bill funding, we will bill you on the semester. So it will look a little bit different than this. As far as the installments are concerned, if you go ahead and use our annual tuition plan, you can contract with the university to pay on a monthly basis. So you would just break, for year one, you'd break that 12,375 into 12 equal payments over the course of the year. And then the same thing for year two and year three. So we have a couple of different options to help you figure out a way to pay for the program. Okay, also, here are the questions. If you have not already prepared to ask me these questions, if you're looking at other programs, we would really encourage you to ask these questions of the other programs you're looking at. You have a lot of different options on the marketplace for a program that will suit your needs, and we want to make sure that you're finding the best fit for you. So some of the questions we'd really encourage you to ask us and to ask others are, what's the track record of your success? Where do students and graduates in your program go professionally, personally? What does that look like for them? What is the actual time commitment going to be for this program? As you're thinking about working full-time and balancing this program and your daily world of work, we want to make sure that you are considering that time commitment. Also, ask what formats the course material is available in. If you're traveling for work, are you going to be able to access the material if you don't have an internet connection, or if you are in rural Kansas and can't get a good enough bandwidth to be able to download materials? So that's something definitely to ask about. We would encourage you to ask to talk to someone who's currently in the program. There are some rules regarding what information can be shared, but you should be able to get a hold of someone who's taking courses who can talk to you about what their experience has been like. And then also ask to speak to someone who's graduated for the program. We'd be happy to put you in touch with any of our students and alumni who can talk to you firsthand about what their experience has been like and what the ROI has been for them on the backside. And then what about tuition reimbursement? If you need specific documentation for your company, make sure that the programs that you're looking at are going to be able to provide you that documentation so that you can get reimbursed or paid ahead of time, and that it's not going to be jumping through hoops to make sure that that information flows freely. Okay, so we'd love to hear more about what drew your interest to the MAB program and talk through with you how we might be a great fit. If you would visit our website at www.mab.ksu.edu, you can choose to schedule an advising appointment with me, and we can walk through your questions specifically and talk through your individual case. Definitely an option for you here. I will just do a lot of asking questions and listening to what your interests are and make sure that we're finding a good way to get you plugged in. I mentioned earlier, you can absolutely download or request a copy of our program booklet. There is a PDF of the booklet. It's about 50 pages. So if you think you're going to need to print it, just go ahead and request a print copy and save yourself that printing. And then finally, there is information on the homepage about our financial aid options. So please feel free to take a look at that. We'd also love to connect with you through our social media channels. Our students and alumni are very active here, so it's a great way to start meeting others who've done the MAB and have some organic conversations about what the program is really like. So we would definitely encourage you to do that. And finally, we have one additional webinar planned this month, and then we have one planned in October. Oops, I didn't change the date there. This is going to be October, I'm going to write it in there, October 12th. Yep. So September 28th at noon, one of our alumni and Vice President of Commercial Lending at Greenstone Farm Credit Services, Sarah Traddles, will be with us to discuss the processes that she used to run a sensitivity analysis of income and expense data, building off of the information she did for her thesis, but also then the subsequent white paper that came about because of her thesis. So she'll be here to talk through, I mean, the overarching, here's what the data looked like for Michigan for business income and expenses that they used as a lending tool, but also talk through what the actual process looked like and what the skills were that she used to analyze that data. This particular webinar on the 28th is part of our MAB for Life series, one that was instituted at the request of our alumni to continually keep them engaged with what's going on in industry, but also keep their skill set fresh. So definitely encourage you to sign up for that. There will be information that will come out through Constant Contact and some email invitations, and feel free to join us for that. And then again, on October 12th, we'll have another webinar just like this one. So if there's others you think would like to do the program or that you'd like to do the program with, have them jump on. As I said, registration and information for both of those webinars should hit your inbox in the next couple of weeks. Finally, if you know that this is going to be the right program for you, I would really encourage you just to go ahead and start an application. The application process can take anywhere from 2 weeks to a month, depending on how long it takes your references to get their letters in. So the quicker you get started on it, the quicker we can get done and make sure that you're fully admitted and you can start taking classes. If you sign up for and complete an advising appointment before you do the application, I will provide you with a waiver code to waive your application fee. And we'd love to give you that opportunity as well. Okay, that's all of the information that I have to share with you from Beautiful Slides. I would love to answer any questions that you have. So feel free to enter those into the chat or feel free to go ahead and unmute. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording so that there's no pressure there. And